Having narrowly survived 3 earth dragons by the skin of their combined many legs, the spider army is on the move again, a mass migration through the lower stratum, the old man trudging naked among them, his concept of shame having departed somewhere around day 3. Their destination turns out to be a cluster of enormous eggs. The eggs are wrong in a way that takes a moment to identify. They are technically just eggs. Pale stone grey, matte, surface slightly rough, ranging from the size of a large dog to something that would comfortably fit a grown adult in fetal position. Nothing unusual about any of that, descriptively. But they pulse. Not visibly. You couldn't point at one and say, there, that part moved. It's a rhythmic pressure in the air, felt in the chest rather than seen with the eyes, a slow subsonic thrum, like standing too close to a very large and very patient heartbeat. Whatever is inside these shells is alive and enormous, and absolutely certain that it is going to exist, regardless of any obstacles. The old man's danger perception skill, already badly stressed from everything the lower stratum has thrown at him, begins producing a very quiet and very continuous alarm it seems unable to stop. Earthworms stand guard. Dead spiders lie at their feet, a scouting party that stumbled onto this place and got swatted, triggering the dragons to retaliate against the main swarm. The worms brace themselves with the air of creatures who know they are going to lose, but have decided to lose with dignity. They do not get the chance to lose with dignity, because something arrives first. I think this has gone far enough. The man is dressed head to toe in black armor that looks almost like a natural carapace, dark skin, red eyes, handsome, if you're into the personification of darkness aesthetic. He looks at the old man for an instant, then immediately looks away with the expression of someone who has seen something they very much did not need to see. The old man finds this rude. Appraisal result cannot be appraised. Unlike with the master, where appraisal is blocked, this person simply cannot be appraised to begin with. The 9 queens, who just defeated 3 earth dragons without breaking a sweat, are eyeing this man with the wariness of creatures that understand they are currently outclassed. The old man did not even sense his arrival. The teleport happened with 0 forewarning. Extraordinary. Withdraw at once, the man says to the spiders. Any further violence will be taken as a declaration of war against me personally. Every spider stops. For a moment, nothing moves. Then the entire swarm turns around and flees at incredible speed. The old man watches them go, unable to keep up with the acceleration. Why are you following those creatures? To pursue the pinnacle of magic, the old man says, puffing out his chest. The man seems genuinely confused by this. He points out that the spiders are part of what wiped out the old man's men. The old man explains that if he does not strive for the greatest heights of magic, who will? This is apparently not a satisfying answer, because the man just shakes his head. He advises the old man to stay away from the spiders. The old man refuses. He has too much to learn from them, and the master has yet to appear. Well then, if you are doing this of your own free will, I will not stop you. The man pauses. However, could you not at least put on some clothing? Ah, right. You must be young yet to be disturbed by something like this. I see. It's quite clear that you are beyond help. In which case, could you not perhaps go from this place now? The old man turns his back on the man in black and chases after the spiders. Meeting of the Parallel Minds number 4. Güli-güli. So are we going to talk about how we went to pick up some eggs on sale, only to have a final boss show up? It's not that surprising. Güli-güli is the general manager of the dragons, right? Obviously, he wasn't going to take it lying down when we beat 3 earth dragons and then went after their eggs. Oh yeah, I guess the first time we met Güli-güli was right after we beat that fire dragon. That brings me back. Damn it, I thought we were finally going to get to eat a worm egg. Right. We never got to eat that egg we picked up in the upper stratum way back when, because those humans set our home on fire and chased us out. What do you think happened to that egg anyway? Since our home was on fire, maybe it got boiled. I'd say it probably got fried. Don't you remember how hard that shell was? It might have actually survived the fire and wound up hatching. What? No way. Yeah, right. That thing definitely got fried. Damn it. All this talk about eggs is making me want to eat some. Yeah, but that's not going to happen. If Güli-güli's protecting them, we're never going to be able to lay a hand on those eggs. Actually, since Güli-güli showed up and all, maybe we should rein it in down here for a while. I guess if we keep killing off dragons and worms and stuff, Güli-güli might snap sooner or later. Should we leave the lower stratum then? But if we do that, how are we going to feed this giant family of ours? Anyone know a good hunting ground? Sure we do. Huh, where? Come on, think. A place where there's tons of prey that gives out tons of EXP too. Ooh, I gotcha. So basically, you're saying we should start taking action for real. I guess our spider underlings have grown quite a bit by now. That's true. Suppose it's time then. Okay, let's get started. Step 1 of our plan to wipe out humanity is a go. A significant portion of the spider army nods in agreement about this, which is objectively more alarming than anything else that has happened in this chapter. Julius woke up sweating again. The nightmare is always the same. The battle he attended as an observer on what was supposed to be a safe, educational experience. He ran toward the nightmare. He stood there, unable to do anything. He's told his presence distracted it long enough for someone to cast a big spell. He is praised for this. It does not feel like something worth praising. He looks out the window at the ruined walls and half-rebuilt homes. The nightmare he faced was fighting to protect this town. The army he arrived with attacked it. The townspeople sometimes throw stones at him and call him the killer of their divine beast. He finds it genuinely difficult to identify who the villains are. Hey, a hero. How's it going? Aurel is waiting for him after his monster hunting run, holding fruit. He's been at this for days, fighting the monsters drawn to the smell of battle's aftermath, because it's something he can actually do. There seems to be a lot of fruit in this town. Julius remarks. Yeah, I guess there was this thing called a divine beast who liked him, Aurel says. Julius almost spits out his fruit. The monster that haunts his dreams liked fruit. A word of God soldier arrives for the hero. The departure ceremony is beginning. Julius says he won't participate and won't march on the next town. He will stay and help with the rebuilding. He will act on his own judgment, not just do what adults tell him. The soldier is composing a response when distant screaming cuts across the conversation. Julius runs toward it. 10,000 white spiders, possibly many more, are charging the gate. The departure ceremony has become a siege. He climbs the wall over Tiva's objections. Holy light magic kills a handful. The next wave tramples them. Then, the spiders simply start climbing the wall, because walls are apparently not a meaningful obstacle for things with 8 legs. Julius gets knocked off by a direct charge, hits the ground, gets up, keeps swinging. A thread drags a screaming soldier into the swarm. He knows he cannot win this. Meanwhile, across town, the old man has teleported back. He came looking for the spiders. The spiders apparently came looking for him, or at least for the town he happened to be in, which is arguably worse. Aurel finds him in his room searching for clothes, and delivers a comprehensive assessment of the situation and his failings in one breath. The swarm is attacking. Julius is out there fighting. Without magic, he is a useless naked old geezer. Please, for the love of the goddess, put on some clothes. He considers running. He thinks about the previous Sword King, who disappeared one day without a word. His friend, his comrade, the god of swordsmanship who swore to protect the empire alongside him and then simply wasn't there anymore. He thinks about the oath he swore in response, never to run away, not from his rank, not from the expectations placed on him, not from humanity's future. Aurel hands him his clothes. He puts them on. Leave it to me. He rushes outside. The battle is a mess. No formations, soldiers just trying not to die from every angle. The spider's 3-dimensional mobility makes conventional defense meaningless. The old man aims for concentrations and opens with large-scale fire magic. Spiders are naturally weak to fire. Even without the amplification technique he's been studying, the spell has effect. Numbers thin. Soldiers find their footing. Among them he spots a short young figure swinging a sword. A spider bears down on the boy from behind. The old man blasts it with a fireball. The boy collapses. Exhaustion, fear, or both. The old man catches him. You've worked hard, my boy. Leave the rest to me. He hands the boy to Tiva and turns to face the swarm. White is remodeling puppet spiders when the space next to her does something extremely precise. She recognizes the quality of the teleport immediately. Nobody else in the world, probably, warps with that level of accuracy, not even her with height of occultism. Güli-güli, administrator, general manager of dragons, the person whose eggs her parallel minds just tried to eat after defeating 3 dragons to get there. Its copies are on a rampage, Güli-güli says, showing her a floating screen depicting Vampy's former town being attacked by a white spider swarm. Please do something about it. White stares at the screen, then at Güli-güli, who is making the implicit point calmly and without dramatics, that if she doesn't fix this, he will have to, and she will not enjoy that outcome. I'll go stop them. She takes the puppet spiders with her. They're technically supposed to be watching her, and abandoning them here while she goes somewhere else would put them in an awkward position with the Demon Lord, which she'd feel marginally bad about. She teleports behind the spider army. There are thousands of them. She can see the 9 parallel minds immediately by their aura, which radiates distinctly differently from the rank and file. She approaches. Hey dummies, what's the big idea? Geh! The main body. The exchange of information is rapid. She asks what they're doing. They say it's obvious they should kill all the humans. She says that doesn't make sense. They say she's the one who doesn't make sense. She thinks about it for a second. Yeah, she kinda gets it. She expelled them from her mind after they ate Mother's soul, and they've become their own beings since then. Beings heavily influenced by whatever they absorbed from Mother. Beings that have reached the conclusion that wiping out humanity is logical and correct. She doesn't share this conclusion. They're a pain in her ass. Güli-güli is going to kill her if she doesn't resolve this. She has no further internal debate. Without preamble, she drives her giant scythe through the head of the nearest parallel mind. Then she fires large-scale dark magic at the remaining 8 before they can react. It won't kill them, same stats, but it hits all of them at once, buying a moment. She finishes off the impaled one with her spider scythes while the others are still staggering. 1 down, 8 to go. The 8 regroup and prepare magic. 6 are charging instant cast spells, 2 are building something bigger. White activates Divine Dragon Barrier. One of the parallel minds immediately activates its own to cancel hers. They have all her skills because they are copies of her, and this is the fundamental problem with fighting yourself. Black spears fly at her. She dodges what she can. The ones she can't dodge hit her, individually dealing minimal damage, collectively being concerning. She charges the 2 charging large-scale spells, taking hits from the other 6 along the way, because the alternative is waiting for abyss magic to finish preparation and hit her in the soul. One parallel mind interposes itself physically. She swings her scythe. It catches the blow with its own scythes. The giant scythe cuts through both and through the parallel mind's body. Rot attack, the skill that imbues physical attacks with the death attribute, so powerful it once destroyed her own scythe when she used it unsheathed. Through a weapon, though, it damages only the target. 2 down, the remaining 7 scatter. Divine Dragon Barrier, Anti-Magic Evil Eye, Sealing Evil Eye, they cancel all of it with their identical skills. The Abyss magic is nearly ready. She has an idea. She turns off her skills, all of them. Height of Occultism, Divine Thread Weaving, Evil Eyes, Resistances, Immortality, all of it. The skills that the parallel minds are using are her skills. Borrowed power, and she is the main body. She can turn off the borrower's access. Ha! All 8 of the parallel minds exclaim in confusion simultaneously. They cannot use magic. They cannot use thread. The abyss magic they were building has evaporated. Without height of occultism and the rest, they're just small spiders with high base stats and no skills. White, meanwhile, has the giant scythe, which is a physical weapon, and rot attack running through it, and stats identical to theirs. She charges. She kills one. The dress she made from divine thread weaving is still blocking some attacks on the way, because divine thread weaving made the material before she turned the skill off, so the cloth still has the properties. A scythe catches her back and barely scratches her. 5 to go. Then 4. She chases the ones that try to flee using repellent evil eye to slow them down with a gravity effect. One shouts at her while running, "Killing everybody would make things easier," It's the fastest way to save this world. Why is she getting in the way? She cuts it down mid-sentence. Mother's will, filtered through the parallel minds, inherited from eating her soul. She gets it. It's still stupid. Not happening. The final parallel mind is cornered by the puppet spiders. 4 against 1, the one having no skills, the 4 having White's extensive modifications to their bodies plus their original high stats. The parallel mind is still putting up a fight due to raw stat advantage. White walks over and finishes it herself before any of the puppet spiders get seriously hurt. All 9 return to her head, yelling, "Ah!" She turns her skills back on. Now she has an army of thousands of leaderless spiders and a mage in the town who is firing what is clearly going to be a massive fire attack. She watches the spell take shape. The AoE, the scale, that's scorched earth, the same magic as the earth dragon Araba used on her once. Weaker, but the same type. And there's an appraisal icon on the caster, which means, oh, it's the naked old man. The one who burned down her home in the Great Elro Labyrinth. Fancy meeting him here. Oops, she was thinking about that, and the spell finished. Right before it hits, she teleports the entire spider army back into the Great Elro Labyrinth. From the outside, it looks like the Scorched Earth spell wiped them all out. The field is a wasteland. The town is saved. The old mage gets credit for a heroic last stand. White, somewhere in the distance, briefly considers exacting revenge for her former home. She lets it go. If the guy who supposedly destroyed the spider army suddenly dies, it'll look suspicious. And he did have the guts to stand up to that army with no real hope of winning, which she finds she respects a little. She'll let him live this time. He should appreciate her incredible generosity. She teleports back with the puppet spiders. Güli-güli is still there. Dustin reads the report and sighs. Keren County attacked by a spider swarm. Heavy losses to the Alt's army. Departure ceremony for the next invasion postponed, possibly permanently. His intelligence suggests the swarm is connected to the nightmare of the labyrinth, yet Lady Ariel said the nightmare was under control. Something doesn't add up, but the result is clear. Attacking Sariella further, with an unknown quantity called the nightmare potentially acting independently in Sariella's defense, while simultaneously managing the elf problem and a new demon lord, is impractical. We shall re-examine our invasion of Sariella. Keren County will still be incorporated into Oats, but let us refrain from attacking them any further. As he gives the order, he thinks of a man carrying a young infant. He does not elaborate on this thought. White returns. Güli-güli is sitting there. The puppet spiders are frozen with nervousness. White cannot start conversations. Silence. Extended, excruciating silence. Time passes. More time passes. White begins to suspect she might die from social discomfort. The Demon Lord, Vampy, and Mera return from town 2 nights later. The Demon Lord smoothly produces a barrel and begins a drinking party, ignoring Güli-güli's presence with the competence of someone who has extensive practice pretending powerful beings are furniture. Mera snuck a sip of alcohol and is already asleep. Güli-güli is somehow drinking with them now. White, drinking freely, begins laughing at everything and pounding Mera on the back companionably, sending him airborne. "Is he dead?" asks the Demon Lord. "He appears to simply be unconscious," says Güli-güli. "The laws of comedy state that nobody dies from stuff like this," White adds helpfully. Eventually, the Demon Lord asks Güli-güli what he needed with White. He explains about the copies. The Demon Lord immediately sits up. "So she really did have copies, huh?" She says she'd figured it out through pure reasoning and demands applause. White applauds. Güli-güli provides polite applause. They briefly get along suspiciously well, then Güli-güli mentions that White's arrogance and selfishness remind him of Dee. White objects to this comparison loudly. A smartphone materializes in front of Güli-güli. Brief exchange. Smartphone disappears. The Demon Lord and White look at each other. "The hell was that?" "Beats me." White files this under probably fine. Güli-güli notes that major events throughout history seem to be set in motion by the selfishness of individuals and asks what White intends to do going forward. White says she doesn't know, but she'll act based on her own pride and nobody else's influence. Not like the parallel minds, who let Mother's absorbed fury drive them to try wiping out humanity. The Demon Lord says something about hating humans. hating those who let Lady Sariel be sacrificed, hating the world that runs on Lady Sariel's constant suffering. The glass in her hand cracks. So that's the source. The Demon Lord's buried fury, filtered through Mother, inherited by the parallel minds. Which means White wasn't entirely wrong that she's partly to blame for her home being burned down, but let's not get into that. Pride, huh? The Demon Lord and Güli-güli have spent their entire existence directing their lives towards someone else, toward protecting the goddess Sariel's wishes. White looks at Mera, asleep, who does the same for Sophia. It's a motivation she has never understood, but it does seem to be one you can be proud of. And dying alone like Araba, incredibly powerful, terrifyingly dignified, mourned by absolutely nobody, is something she finds she doesn't want. Please teach me well, senpai. What is it talking about? I dunno. I never know what White is thinking. She woke up the next morning, not remembering any of this. The day after meeting the pontiff, Merazophis collapsed. Blood loss. Sophia drank too much. She acknowledges this. Fine, she's sorry. He recovered after an extra night's rest. Ariel ordered another barrel of liquor as an apology to White for the delay, which was transparently an excuse to drink more. Güli-güli attended this drinking party, somehow. Neither Ariel nor White said anything about him being there, so Sophia let it go. She passed out again immediately on her one sip. Some things remained consistent. The journey resumed. They traveled through forests, mountains, and terrain that would make most adults reconsider their life choices. Then, finally, the capital of Sariella. Ariel asks if they want a few days to decide what to do next. No, Sophia says. I don't need a few days. She turns to Ariel. Please take us with you to the demon territory. Then, before Ariel can ask Merazophis, come with me. Certainly, young miss. He didn't even hesitate. He won't. She made sure of that. She has given this considerable thought. Merazophis was born here, built a life here, lost everything here. If she allows him to stay, this country will pull at him with everything he's lost. He is still, in some part of himself, loyal to her parents rather than to her, honoring their memory by staying by their daughter's side. She wants more than that. She wants him to stay for her sake, not theirs, and the only way to make that happen is to take him somewhere that isn't weighted down with those memories. She is aware that this is somewhat selfish. She has decided she doesn't care. Merazophis is hers. She's keeping him. She wants to become someone worthy of being his real master, someone who thinks of others like Ariel, someone with the kind of conviction White carries, something more than just a girl inherited from her parents. Her old-world parents had nothing going for them except their kind natures, and they were happy. She's learning. She'll get there. Merazophis, make sure you always stay with me and support me. All right? Of course, young miss. She holds out her hand. Merazophis kneels and kisses it. Huh? Wait a second. This is for the best, right? I think it is, but... Something feels a little off here. Is she turning into a yandere? What? How did things end up like this? Ariel mutters this to herself. Sophia ignores her completely. Final report on the Nightmare of the Labyrinth. Agrissa Furiou, Analite Kingdom monster researcher. The defense of Keren County occurred in Kingdom calendar year 842, the same year as the tragedy of Zatona. White spider monsters attacked the Oates Alliance army's position. The attack was repelled with the assistance of Sir Julius the Hero and Elder Ronandt. Heavy casualties forced Oates to cancel further invasion plans. A note on the tragedy of Zatona, for the record. I interviewed 11 survivors across a period of 4 months. Several were conducted in the field, within travel distance of the plane itself, and I will say plainly that the site retains a quality that makes prolonged presence uncomfortable in ways not attributable to scenery. The air around Zatona still carries the smell of old fire and ash, not the clean smell of wood burned long ago, but the heavier, specific smell of battlefields left before they were fully processed. Fabric, leather, something organic that one learns, after a certain number of interviews, not to pursue further. 2 of my subjects broke off mid-sentence when the wind shifted. One had to move away from the site entirely before she could continue speaking. I include this because the official accounts of the battle tend to describe the Nightmare's initial attack as a magical event with certain measurable characteristics, which is accurate and also almost entirely beside the point. What it smelled like is part of the record, even if records usually leave it out. Whether this attack was commanded by the nightmare of the labyrinth, and whether the nightmare survived the tragedy of Zatona, remains unconfirmed. What is confirmed? The nightmare's period of activity was brief. Its effect on human society was not. It demonstrated, simply and conclusively, that there are individual creatures against which no human army stands a meaningful chance. Legendary class monsters are few. They do not approach human settlements. This is the only reason humanity continues to exist. The nightmare reminded us of this. Whether the reminder was intentional is, like everything else about it, speculation.